All right, welcome back, crime fighters, for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us lock up some bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, along with Calhoun County Sheriff Matthew Wade. Good to see you, Sheriff.
It's always good to be on the show, Chris.
And real quick shout out to our previous sheriff.
Today's his birthday. He's 67 years old.
Yeah, Larry Emerson.
He is Larry Emerson. Happy birthday, Sheriff Emerson. Great mentor and a great sheriff.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about what our viewers have done for us this week.
All right, still hadn't let us down. We'll take one. Brings our count up to 4,552 people put in jail, all because you were willing to help us. You know, and Chris, that number, just having one person, you think, well, there's only one. But I looked at the jail records a while ago, and today is Tuesday, about 1 o'clock, and we haven't booked anybody into our jail since yesterday.
Wow. And
normally we would be booking in 30 to 50 a day. So we're thankful that the social distancing seems to be working. So.
The stay-at-home order is still in place.
It is.
Governor Ivey clarified that today at her press conference. And so, of course, now some people may be watching this program on a repeat because it does air multiple times throughout the week. And by that time, something may have changed. But as of the time that we're recording this, stay-at-home orders are still in place. Absolutely. And waiting for science to tell them to do otherwise.
Absolutely. Knowledge, not fear.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back in just a moment. We'll have the first half of this week's lineup and more about what's going on here in Calhoun County during this strange and crazy time.
Hi, I'm Nancy Hilton with the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. When a major health event happens, you might be looking for ways to help. Scammers use these same events to take advantage of your generosity. You still need to be aware of fake emails, postal mail, and robocalls. Some scammers use names that sound a lot like the names of real charities. This is one reason it pays to do some research before giving. Money lost to a bogus charity means less donations to help those in need. Scammers and sometimes even well-meaning people share information that has not been verified. Before you pass on any messages, and certainly before you pay someone or share your personal information, do some fact-checking by contacting trusted resources. Also, be aware of the COVID-19 Tracker app. This app is actually ransomware with the ability to lock your phone and demand a payment to unlock it. Check out the website for the Federal Trade Commission, ftc.gov. And for more information on COVID-19 updates, follow the Center for Disease Control at cdc.gov.
All right, let's get started with this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Up first, Dustin Studdard of Talladega, wanted for 2 counts of violating a domestic violence protection order. Ginger Horton of Anniston is wanted for first-degree theft of property. Bobby Cunningham of Jacksonville wanted on a failure to appear warrant for disorderly conduct. Tanya Bentley of Pell City also wanted on a failure to appear warrant for disorderly conduct. Mario Burton of Alexandria wanted for failure to pay for burglary 3rd degree and domestic violence 3rd degree. And Crystal Iluski of Jacksonville wanted for criminal trespass 1st degree. That's the first half of the lineup. We'll have some more for you coming up in just a few minutes here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, we'll have the second half of the lineup coming up in just a little bit. Real quick, Sheriff, one of the things that we probably should talk about is how people can get information right now. And we've talked about, following the Calhoun County EMA to get good information. But a lot of people are looking for information that the EMA is not going to put out necessarily. But our lives are all a little bit different right now, in some cases a whole lot different, and we may need help in different ways than we would normally need it. And there's a good source to get that information about who is out there to help us.
Absolutely, 211. Just dial 211 and they'll either transfer you to where you need to go or they'll ask you the zip code that you're calling from. And out of that, you can ask them anything and they can help you with any type of financial assistance, probably telling you where to go. They can't actually pay it, but they can point you in the right direction. They can help you with different COVID questions that you might have about the COVID. virus or how to get tested or how long you should quarantine. They can help you with power bills, water bills, just anything that these crazy times that you need. Well, I don't really know what I should do. Call them. They can probably point you in the right direction for unemployment and things of that nature.
There's not an answer for everything, but there are answers, solutions, people out there to help with a lot more than people realize sometimes, and that help is no good if the people who need it can't find out about it.
Absolutely.
So call 211, ask. The worst that can happen is they say, I'm sorry, I just can't find anything to help you with that situation, but quite often they can.
Absolutely. We've, as a sheriff's office, we've donated our lent office staff to go up there and answer the phone calls and help. So we're trying to do our part on that aspect as well. But 211 is an easy number to remember, and they more than likely, if they don't know, they'll find out and give you a call back with what you do.
All right. Well, let's catch up on where we stand in Calhoun County and with the Calhoun County Jail. Specifically, I know that we've had in the state of Alabama, we've had some people who are incarcerated that tested positive, and it started to affect the inmate population. But as of right now, that hasn't happened in Calhoun County, has it?
Not as of yet. We don't have anybody. We don't have anybody currently on quarantine. We have some safety measures in place, some intelligence in place that we're using where somebody says they're sick, we know, and we're able to get them tested. Now, we have quarantined some in the past, we have tested some in the past, and they've all been negative. We've had several officers that's been quarantined and had to be tested. Thank God all of them have been negative. So we are doing everything that we know to do before we let somebody come into our facility to take care of the ones we got. We are cleaning astronomically doing it so, and all the inmates are even, telling all their family how much we're cleaning. I hear family members calling, well, I know y'all are taking it serious. My loved one says y'all are cleaning all the time, and that makes me feel good because we really are doing the best we can.
You probably got a few complaining about it being too much.
Well, yeah, I got some of that too, but with that, we're trying to do the best we can, and we were on, like most other law enforcement agencies, we were on a backlog of trying to get masks, a surgical mask, N95 mask. We were behind on trying to get some hand sanitizer, just some safety goggles, things of that nature. But that stuff is all caught up with us. We have all of that. We have plenty of it. We've actually gave some to some other agencies. But one thing we did is we gave every inmate a surgical mask. And out of that, some of them have called and told their family there must be somebody positive because we got a surgical mask. No, we gave it to you as just one more preventive measure that you could wear to try to help protect you, or if you're sick or you're coughing, to protect somebody else. So we're doing all that we know we can do, but it is a virus. Mm-hmm. We can't see it. Eventually, somebody's going to come into the jail that's been arrested. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get it. But we're doing all that we can to make sure that we can do what we know to do to prevent it. And if it does happen, we'll be honest about it, and we'll take care of that person and make sure we do everything humanly possible to make sure whoever gets it, that's either an employee or a corrections officer, or an inmate, we'll do all that we can to protect both of them, because we are in this together.
Mm-hmm. You talk about the masks, and a lot of people still haven't quite figured out that the mask is more to protect other people than it is to protect yourself.
Sure.
When we cough, when we speak, and droplets come out of our mouth. I was watching a video earlier today that they actually did some in-laboratory testing to see how far those droplets actually move. And it's a little bit surprising to see a strong cough that can travel 12 feet out in front of you. And in some cases, we think about it dropping down to the floor, and most of it does, but some of it, with some thermal radiation going on in the rooms around us, some of it actually rises in the air. So,
and I'm not a scientist, but I know they say masks help, and so we wanted to provide them to anybody comes to our jail. The first thing after they're checked, the first thing they're given is a mask. Mm-hmm. We ordered 5,000 of those. We already had 2,000, so we got 7,000 of these things. And we're going to make sure that inmates come in our jail get them. If they need another one, we'll give them another one. And our staff's got availability to them. We just don't want somebody to say, well, if you had done more, it might have saved a life or prevented something bad from happening. So my goal is to make sure that we do everything we know to do, and out of that, if something still happens, at least we know that we tried our best. Mm-hmm. So we're trying our best to take care of everybody, and that's inmates and employees, and the people of this community. So we're trying to do our best with it, but there's nobody sick in there yet that's been tested or tested positive. We don't have any tests pending on any inmates. Mm-hmm. So, but.
Well, we need to take a quick break. We'll talk some more about what's going on in the community. It's not all business as usual, although the sheriff's office is still, working full speed ahead. We'll talk about what's going on some more coming up next, and we'll also have the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, here we go with the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Erica Odell of Piedmont is wanted on a probation violation for breaking and entering a vehicle. Ramona Thompson of Boaz wanted on probation revocation for attempted identity theft. Johnny Barksdale of Lincoln wanted on a failure to appear warrant for attempting to elude. James Massey of Anniston wanted on a failure to appear warrant for assault 3rd degree and domestic violence 3rd degree harassment. Alicia Brown of Oxford wanted on bond revocation and failure to appear for possession of a controlled substance, use and possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of marijuana 2nd degree. Stephen Bailey of Ashland wanted on a failure to appear warrant for use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And Douglas Phillips of Anniston wanted on bond revocation for distribution of a controlled substance. If you can help us find any of these individuals, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers. The number is 256-238-1414. All right, so we'll have some property crimes coming up in just a few minutes, and hopefully you can help us solve one or more of those. We always appreciate the input back from the community. Sheriff, talking about what's going on with the sheriff's office and in the community right now. You mentioned earlier that when you checked earlier today, you hadn't had any new bookings into the jail, which is normally you'd have dozens in a 24-hour period. And so I know we've got the sheriff's office going still. Absolutely. Business as usual. Everybody's still working.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the things that are going on? I would assume that if we don't have that many people coming in, that frees some deputies up, but you've probably got plenty of things for them to be doing.
Well, in the jail, we have been over 500 for a long time, for years. Not this summer, last summer, the summer before, we got up to 670 something, our all-time high. Right now we have 390 something, and we have 330 in the main jail, which is rated for 400. So we're 70 beds are open in the main jail. That hasn't happened in years.
That must feel good.
It does feel good, and it feels good to the people that's in there, not only to the inmates, but to the officers, because when people are overcrowded and stuffed in rooms, it flares tensions. There's more things that happen when they're properly suited to a room and to a bed. Inmates are much easier to deal with. The correctional officers with less people, the numbers favor them a little better, and things look up in all aspects. We were talking about that earlier today. Just all aspects of the jail seem to look better when it's got a lot less people in it, or when it's the number of occupants and the number of officers are both equal to what should be. Less than the occupied space, and you got enough officers there to take care of them. We've been short for needing correctional officers for years, but we're about almost full. There's been a turn in the tide, and correctional officers, we're doing really well with them right now. We're not having a lot of turnover, and our spots are filled, and just some things are looking up in that aspect of it. So we're really happy about that. On the patrol side, of course, it's slower as well. We have school resource officers. The schools are not in, so we have them on the roads, and things that we're focusing on is businesses and homes. We want to make sure that our businesses are checked, patrolled, and make sure those business owners know that the sheriff's office is there to protect their assets, especially in a time like this where a lot of these small businesses might be struggling or might even be closed and they're not making any money. We definitely don't want somebody to come by and take what they do have. So we're really focusing on that. We're focusing on neighborhood patrols and trying to make sure that people know that we're out there to take care of them and to protect them. And if somebody's a bad guy and they need to be put in jail, well, that's where they need to be. And so if you're a bad guy, we don't want you to let loose. You know, there's been crazy times where people have been demanding, hey, let people out of jail. And I've also had people demand me to go arrest preachers for having church service. So times are weird, but at the same time, if somebody needs to be in jail because they're a bad person, we'll keep them away from society like we're charged to do. But with that being said, there's a lot less people coming to jails.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we know that the situation we're in right now is not going to last. Things will change. For most of us, things are hopefully going to get better at some point when we're ready for it to happen, and we'll be able to get back to some sense of normalcy. And that's going to mean probably an uptick, and there's probably going to be quite a few things that kind of flew under the radar a little bit at this time that will be discovered at that point. So you're going to have your work cut out for you.
Well, and right now, I think you're absolutely right. I think we'll be extremely busy when this lifts. There'll be people getting back to normal. Things will happen. There'll be a lot of court cases going on. There'll be a lot more things happening. So during this time, it's been kind of nice for us in the sense that it hasn't been that busy, but we've taken that time to make sure that we let the people know that we patrol, that we're here to take care of them. We answer every one of our calls. We haven't put in any kind of stipulations on answering a call. If somebody calls us and says they need help, we go. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want them to know as their sheriff. We're going to be there and we're going to come when you need us.
All right. Well, thank you for all the good work, and please pass that along to all your folks, your deputies and folks working in the jail, corrections officers, everybody. Let them know that we appreciate them, the folks that are in there answering those phone calls, and all those people doing a great job for us while a lot of us are sitting at home.
You know, and to be honest with you, they've all had a great morale, and none of them have complained, and I'm really proud of them for the way they've handled themselves during this time.
That's great. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we will have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show, talk about some property crimes that maybe you can help with. We'll also have our Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, let's take a look at some recent property crimes and see if you can help us solve any of them. On April 13th, a 28-foot orange Werner ladder was stolen from a residence located on Vigo Road in Piedmont. Between March 1st and April 13th, a home was broken into and ransacked on Noah Valley Road in Jacksonville. On April 11th, around 3 a.m., an unknown person entered a local business facility on Highway 431 north in Alexandria by cutting a fence. A gravelly 48-inch pro-turn lawnmower was stolen. And between April 19th and 20th, an unknown person removed a commercial air compressor from a business in Alexandria. An unknown amount of change was also taken. If you have information about these crimes or other crimes committed in Calhoun County, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. We want your information, not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, so Sheriff, you know that in Florida they have reopened some of the beaches, and some people have been able to go back out there and walk along the beach and get a little sunshine and exercise and enjoy the calming waves. And when they did this in Jacksonville, Florida, they made sure that they had a police presence out there to make sure everybody's doing it properly. You might have been able to predict that the police were going to be there in a pretty good presence, but apparently not everybody did. Our Crazy Criminal of the Week, Matthew Gotti, got out there to enjoy the beach and acted a little bit suspiciously when all the officers were out there walking through the sand. And turns out he was wanted on a murder charge, amongst others. So,
well, you know, if you're wanted for murder, you probably shouldn't go around a lot of law enforcement officers. It's like it caught up with him.
Everybody in the world is looking at Jacksonville, Florida's beaches as they reopen it. You got news crews out there, you got police, everybody's watching everybody. He's on the run trying to avoid a murder charge.
I wonder if his name is actually Gotti versus, you know, you take the A to an O, isn't that John Gotti's kid maybe?
He might be related or maybe just impersonating, I don't know. But regardless, we're glad that they picked him up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so that's about all the time that we've got. We do appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you calling in any information that you have. thank you for doing your part to flatten the curve and keep the virus from spreading around more than it has to. Stay vigilant on that. Wear your masks if you go out, and we'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.